Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Want to talk about the death in the headlines of Allan Gerson. He was an attorney for the victims of the Pan Am 103 bombing of December 21st, 1988. He is dead at age 74. He was a Jewish man. I'm going to talk a lot about 74 in this video. But first, we're going to talk about the significance of this man dying just days after the London terrorist attack, the latest London Bridge attack, which had a lot to do with 74, and this man being associated with an act of terrorism in a plane flight that was supposed to pass through London, the Lockerbie bombing. But let's just start here. He was 74 years old. And again, big number in the London Bridge attack that just happened. Boris Johnson, right after the attack, came out and said 74 terror prisoners would be released early. He said this to the BBC, which of course sums to 74. Stabbing, London, Jewish, Masonic, occult, Gematria, English, all 74. The surname of the stabber, Usman Khan, Khan 74, the same spelling as Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London. This is not an arbitrary number. This is a very special number. And we're going to be making a great point about that in this presentation. But let's just start first with this man's death, Allan Gerson. So, the Pan Am flight, which he's associated with, it was destroyed December 21st, 1988. 12 plus 21 plus 88 is 121. 121. And this man just died Sunday, December 1st, 12/1, like 121. In Gematria, blood sacrifice equals 121. Number that shows up fairly often around suspicious deaths. We just talked about this in regards to the death of Terry Glenn Sr. and his son Terry Glenn Jr. Headlines this weekend, the latest of the death of Terry Glenn's son. Terry Glenn Sr. died on his 121st day of his age. But numbers that show up around suspicious deaths often. So this man was associated with the terrorist attack, which happened on a date with the 121 numerology, and then ends up dying all these years later on December 1st, 12/1. And notice his name, Allan Gerson, has Gematria 46 and 62, just like sacrifice sums to 46 and 62. And Genesis 46 begins with a sacrifice. This code of letters and numbers comes from Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism. It's very much associated with the English translations of the Bible. Genesis 46 begins with a sacrifice. With regards to the date, December 1st, that he died, that date can be written 12/1 like 121. It can also be written 1/12 like 112. He was Jewish. Judaism's 112. Zionist is 112. Think about the Balfour Declaration in history. It wasn't written on December 1st, but it was written on the date November 2nd, a date that can be written 11/2 like 112. And the Balfour Declaration was about creating the Zionist nation of Israel. Again, what a date to draft such a document. Also, let's not forget that this year on the anniversary of the Balfour Declaration, this was the headline: German city declares a Nazi emergency. This was November 2nd, 2019. Okay, so 74. Not an arbitrary number, a number associated with Judaism, associated with death and killing. Again, we just had the stabbing in London. Stabbing, London, Jewish, Masonic, occult, Gematria, English, they're all 74. Let's not forget that the Ides of March is celebrated March 15th, the 74th day of the year, to remember the stabbing of Caesar. Caesar sums to 47, the reflection. But again, this man's death comes right after this incident, where directly after the incident, Boris Johnson came out and said 74 terror prisoners would be released early. And, prior to this announcement, we were just talking about the repetitive nature of 74 and death and killing and terrorism. Again, 9/11, the World Trade Centers were on the 74th meridian. This number shows up in nearly every act of terrorism that perpetrates the mainstream media. Here was a story from this past summer. Anti-Semitic message found at Jewish museum in Brooklyn, New York. And this story, the date that this incident happened was May 30th, 2019, which was a date with 74 numerology. Brooklyn, New York's one of the most Jewish neighborhoods in the world. Brooklyn, New York, 74. Ashkenazi Jews is 74. Remember, my book was for sale on Etsy, which is owned by Jews who operate out of Brooklyn, New York. They banned my book on what day? On March 15th, the 74th day of the year. A book that had a 5-star review, hundreds of positive reviews, nothing wrong with the book, no explanation for why the book was banned, but we know why it was banned. It's because it was giving away Jewish secrets. So, of course, they're going to ban it on the 74th day of the year, as they did. But again, this story out of Brooklyn, New York, on a date with 74 numerology. Another headline around that time, Jewish charity raises $74 million for fun. But what we pointed out is the day that happened was also 74 days from the upcoming August 11th date, Tisha B'Av, to remember Jewish tragedy. And they ended up having a tragedy at Temple Mount, which we anticipated. The worshipers at Temple Mount on August 11th were sprayed with tear gas by the Israeli police. That was the Muslim holy day, the day of sacrifice. It was also Tisha B'Av for the Jews to remember the destruction of the 2 temples and other Jewish tragedies in history. This story, in case you forgot it, New York City police are investigating an anti-Semitic message found at the Jewish Children's Museum in Brooklyn on Thursday. Hitler is coming was written on a post-it note and placed on a billboard displayed in front of the museum, said NYPD spokesperson Sophia Mason. And the thing that will be lost to most people that they'll never catch in this post is that Hitler shut down Masonic lodges in every territory that the Germans overtook in their conquest of Europe. And the reason they did that is because they said that's where the Jews were conspiring against common people, was in the Masonic lodges. And a lot of people don't know anything about World War I or what really got behind the Nazi movement and why Jews were targeted by Hitler. It's because of the Jewish boycott of 1933. So there's a lot in this name, Sophia Mason. And again, almost no one will catch it. Plus, most people don't know anything about Masonry or Freemasonry or its history or that it controls police, media, government worldwide, which are all facts. By the way, Jewish Children's Museum sums to 96, like Jewish Defense League, like never again. The Jewish Defense League motto, like Freemason. This happened May 30th, but the news broke the day after, June 1st. Adolf Hitler, 6'1". Think about it. They called it a hate crime the day the news broke. The day after the post-it note was supposedly posted on the museum was a date with 46 numerology, hate crime 46. You might remember that was the number all over the Jesse Smollett contrived story. And, oh, by the way, just look at the gematria overlap with the Synagogue of Satan in Brooklyn, New York. Again, that's the title for the false Jews from the Bible. The people who claim to be Jews, but who are not, but are liars. So, some more 74. Remember this story? This is how I lost my latest channel. Got up to 70,000 subscribers again, and then the channel was deleted again. It was deleted for the video covering this exact story. And all I showed was why Marianne Williamson was being targeted in the mainstream media for not denouncing a Zionist conspiracy about 9/11 on her 74th day of her age. So this was September 19th news. Marianne Williamson was running as a presidential candidate in the Democratic Party. Her birthday is July 8th. From her birthday to the day the news story ran, 74 days. And she got criticism for, again, not denouncing. Here it is right here. Democratic presidential candidate Marianne Williamson once entertained 9/11 conspiracy theories on a radio show hosted by a prominent truther who claimed that the World Trade Center attacks were orchestrated by a Zionist organized crime outfit. In the 2012 appearance, Williamson declined to challenge the host's conspiracy theory and said that questioning the factual history of the September 11, 2001 attacks was acceptable and no different than questioning the government account of the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, which, by the way, happened in Dealey Plaza, named after a Scottish Rite Freemason. By the way, JFK spoke out against secret societies. The interview was first shared on Twitter in early August, but has not been widely circulated or reported on. So the reason my channel was deleted was because I read this news story and I said, well, is it really a conspiracy theory? Because it was even reported on 60 Minutes, the story about the dancing Israelis and how they were detained and sent back to Israel. And then it came out later that they went on Israeli television and said that they were there on that day to document the events, meaning they had foreknowledge. And I didn't say anything different in the video that got the channel taken down. It was that exact presentation. This video might get taken down for the same reasons, but YouTube took down the video and called it hate speech. It's like, really? Hate speech? Hate speech? For stating facts? With no hate? Just showing the pattern of 74 again and again? And again, the World Trade Centers were on the 74th Meridian West. New York City. Notice it was also 2 months and 12 days from her birthday. That's the New York area code, 212. And, yeah, here's the World Trade Center coordinates right here. And just also, again, another thing that's important to know about the World Trade Centers is they were in Manhattan. Manhattan Project to develop powerful weapons. The World Trade Centers turned to dust. No explanation for how buildings that massive fell into such a nice, neat, little tiny pile. How they were literally turned to dust as they fell to the ground. The dust that went all throughout New York City. You know, weapon, energy, nuclear, all 74. That name Marianne Williamson also sums to 113. Remember, Scottish is 113 and 103. September 19th was the day leaving 103 days left in the year. The most Jewish branch of Freemasonry is the Scottish Rite. We began with the lawyer who just died at 74, who was connected to the Pan Am 103 bombing. See how that all comes together? By the way, the JFK assassination was in Dallas, again in Dealey Plaza, named after a Scottish Rite Freemason, Scottish 113, Dallas 113. So, let's go through some more headlines. Anti-Semitic acts registered by police rose 74% in France last year. And remember, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry came to power in France. Remember when the Scottish Rite Masonic Lodge was supposedly vandalized on the 113th day of the Yellow Vest protests, Scottish 113? It's a story we covered. But anti-Semitic acts up 74%, according to French authorities. Survey, 74% of French Jews mulling emigration. Where are they going to go? Israel? 74%. Here's another one. What 74% of Jews in France avoid doing? Don't forget the majority of the founders of this nation were Masons and they spent a lot of time in France. Of course, holiday equals 74, so does Independence Day. Think of July 4th, 7-4. Again, it's been Masonic and Jewish influence in this nation since the beginning. Watch the Jewish film Four Blood Moons. It's a pro-Zionist film. It talks about how without the Jews, there'd be no United States of America because it was Jewish bankers who funded the wars that established the nation. Which is true. Here was a good story from almost 2 years ago now. Paul Ryan, primary challenger, says 74 of his critics are Jews. Think he's in on the code? 74. Before I saw the story about the death of Allan Gerson, it was funny. What happened tonight is I came on YouTube, and you know how it gives you videos in your feed? In my feed was this video right here. For whatever reason, this was up on the screen for me to watch. SJW gets fired for harassing 74-year-old Trump supporter at Starbucks. And I noticed that somehow I missed this story. I can't believe that I missed this story earlier this year, but somehow I did. I noticed that this story, there's so many videos on YouTube of people commenting on this story, millions of views, hundreds of thousands of views, tens of thousands of comments on these videos. So many people worked up, so divided. A lot of comments like, this is why we hate liberals. Liberals are the worst. And again, it's just like, all of these people deserve to know gematria so they can see what's actually going on, how news stories are contrived to keep people in the same old, you know, this or that, left or right, up or down, this school or that school, this team or that team. And most people don't see who's pulling all the puppet strings. 74-year-old Jewish man. Get to that one here in a moment. But here was the story. A 74-year-old man said a woman berated and called him a racist at a California Starbucks on Monday after she spotted him wearing a Make America Great Again hat in support of President Trump. The man whose all of his children of age are married into Jewish families because, like many, he's a crypto Jew. Isn't it interesting how many Jews hide their name and pretend that they're not Jewish? I mean, the thing the ADL will not address is why Jewish folks have such a bad reputation worldwide, why they've been kicked out of so many countries. They won't acknowledge that. They just act like it's just some random thing that just happens to happen all over the world for thousands of years, as if it's just been one big coincidence this whole time, instead of acknowledging the reason why. You know? Have some courage. Come out and say, you know what? We know why we're resented. It's because we have a holy text, well, holy to some, the Talmud, that says we're better than everybody else. And we're the chosen people, and everybody else is less than us, and we consider you animals because you're not as smart as us. I mean, come out and say that. Then you'd have some more respect. I think a lot of people might be like, honestly, I think a lot of people might be like my own mother. My mother's not Jewish. My dad doesn't know who his dad is. His dad might have been Jewish. Because my mom's always thought that, I look Jewish. She's like, I think your dad's probably Jewish. You look Jewish. You might be one of them. But people like my mom, honestly, if Jews came out and said that, my mom, somehow, she would say that she's like, you could be one of them. They say they're the chosen ones. So, there's so many people. They already have that belief. They accept that belief. Why doesn't the ADL just come out and say, you know what? We are the chosen ones. Come out and be honest for once. Don't be the synagogue of Satan. Don't forget, ADL has that gematria 64 like synagogue of Satan, like Israel, like Zion. Anyway, a 74-year-old man said a woman berated and called him a racist at a California Starbucks on Monday after she spotted him wearing a Make America Great hat. Make America Great Again hat in support of President Trump. The man who was identified as Victor, Victor equals 33, the number they always pair with 74, told KTVU he was wearing the iconic red hat when the woman began yelling at him outside the coffee shop in Palo Alto, California. This woman came over and not only started screaming at me, she turned to the Starbucks audience and said, "Hey everybody, come here, this guy's a racist. This guy hates brown people," Victor told the news station. Victor, who is Jewish, also told other news outlets that the woman called him a Nazi. Sure it wasn't an Ashkenazi? Let's not forget this story earlier from this year. Bruno Ganz, who played Hitler in the film Downfall, He died at age 77. Judaism 77. Zionist 77. Don't get me started on Flight 77 on 9/11 that hit the 77-foot tall Pentagon on the 77th meridian 77 minutes after taking off, and September 11th equals 77, and World Trade Center equals 77. Anyway, here's the thing. The day he died, February 15th, that was 74 days from the anniversary of the death of Hitler. You see? Killing Jewish Masonic occult, English Gematria 74. And it was also 2 months and 15 days, and he died on 2/15, February 15th. And February 15th is the 46th day of the year, and Bruno Ganz equals 46, like sacrifice, like Swiss. He was a Swiss actor. What are the odds? He played Hitler in a film, and then he dies 74 days from the anniversary of the death of Hitler. And at a very suspicious age. You just saw Michael Bloomberg, whose name equals 77 and who's 77 years old, run for president. 9/11 is part of his viral advertising campaign. Up here in the Pacific Northwest, Costco. If you didn't know, Costco's out of Kirkland, Washington, just outside of Seattle, Microsoft Town, next to Bellevue, Redmond. But in recent times, he was a Jewish man, the owner of Costco, Jeff Brotman. He dropped dead at age 74. Jeff Brotman's 47. The Reflection has the Jesuit order's birthday. He died on a date with 46 numerology. You know, interesting how that always shows up, huh? Sacrifice 46, Old Testament, Jews. Genesis 46 begins with the sacrifice. He died 57 days from his birthday. Jews 57. It was also a span of 58 days. Freemasonry 58. Secret Society 58. You want to see nice homes. This is the town right here. This is where all the super rich live in Washington. This town right here. The schools in that little neighborhood are made out of gold, literally. You go in the school, you'd think you're like in Buckingham Palace. And, you know, sometimes I wonder what it is about 74. You know, 7, divine completion. 4, foundation. The 4th book of the Bible from the Old Testament is titled Numbers. God created the world in 7 days. 7 plus 4 is 11, the master number. The first Jewish-Roman war ended in 74 CE. They say all roads lead to Rome. Romans 74. Think about Rome and the Jews, you probably think about Jesus. Jesus, cross, Messiah, parables, gospel, all 74. If you want to add to that list, so is Jesus Christ. And Trump doesn't equal 74, but Trump does equal 47. Here he was at the Western Wall on Jerusalem Day. Then he went to the Vatican right after that. Think about that. The Crusades, the Catholic Church, Jerusalem. Who's really running the show? But Trump and his yarmulke. A guy who pretends to be a Christian in a mocking way. It's just like when he was on the campaign trail and saying that he was a Christian, he was asked, well, what's your favorite verse from the Bible? And he goes to the Old Testament and says an eye for an eye. That's the Jewish way in direct contradiction to Jesus. You're not a Christian if your favorite verse in the Bible is an eye for an eye. You're a Jew, which Trump is, and like many Jews, pretend not to be. And again, never forget this commercial from 2009 for Serta mattresses. Trump talking to digital sheep in a hallway, sheep that are numbered on pillars with the numbers 11 and 9. I mean, does that remind you of anything? 11 and 9, pillars, sheep. That whole image right there encapsulates September 11th, 2001. If you've never seen this commercial, look it up. Serta mattresses, 2009, counting sheep, something like that. You'll find it. Trump counting sheep, you'll find it. Donald Trump wears the same suit and tie he wore for election night. He talks about being born for the job. The commercial ends with this sheep looking at the camera and saying, where's your dignity? Perfect question for all the Trump supporters. But notice, Orthodox is 119, Star of David's 119, Ashkenazi Jews is 119, Tisha B'Av, 9/11. Tisha B'Av to remember the destruction of the two temples, not unlike the two towers, which the dancing Israelis were there to document. And don't forget, Donald Trump was announced as the 45th president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, which was November 9th, 2016. In the early hours of that day, the day following the election, Hillary conceded. Trump was the 45th president-elect. Berlin Wall 45, Mr. Wall 45, falling towers, falling walls, 9/11, 11/9, September 11th, November 9th. Think about it. Trump's puppet vice president, Mike Pence, Holy Bible, Jerusalem, Jerusalem Day, the Vatican. So, this video wouldn't have happened tonight if I hadn't caught this story right here. Let's just sit back and watch it. This guy looks like he'd make a good mall Santa. Here we go.
You know, America's still a free country, right?
Victor F. is a 74-year-old Trump supporter who lives in Palo Alto. He casually went about his business today, still sporting the red MAGA hat that prompted a loud confrontation with a woman at a Palo Alto Starbucks 2 days ago.
This crazy woman came over and started raving at me. She turned to the rest of Starbucks. Hey, everybody, here's this racist here. He hates brown people. He's crazy. He's a Nazi and so forth.
The woman, Rebecca Parker Mankey, then began taking photos and posting about it on her Facebook, saying she was going to shame him, get him fired, kicked out of clubs, and march up and down his street.
I have to look to see if this is even a real person. You know, we're in the age of this person does not exist. Check out that website, thispersondoesnotexist.com. Every time you refresh it, it gives you a new computer-generated image of a person that looks perfectly real. But right away, what stands out about this ridiculous name, Parker's 33 like Victor, but her initials, PM. P is the 16th letter. The numerology of 16 is 1 plus 6 is 7. M's the 13th letter. The numerology of 13 is 1 plus 3 is 4. So 7-4 PM. Let's just take a peek. Parker Mankey. That name does not sound real at all. All right, let's see here. Parker, 33. In this same cipher, this is the most pure cipher, the alphabetic order of the rules of numerology. A lot of these numbers are actually really interesting, but his name's Victor, 33. I see 33 and 39 in both. 39 books in the Old Testament. Parker Mankey. Oh, goodness. This whole story is bullshit, I guarantee it. Okay, 57, Jews, right? Scottish Rite. George Washington, the Scottish Rite Freemason, inaugurated at age 57. But let's go back. Parker Mankey, 138. Well, I know what's up with that. Donald Trump, 138. Remember Federals, 138. Remember how we called the Nationals to beat the Astros. 138 days after Trump's birthday in Game 7. Nationals is 138. The manager of that team was Dave Martinez, 138. I just seen way too much of this number right here. Parker Mankey. Let's go back. There's 69 again. 69 at the top of the Masonic Arch. The only thing I'm missing right now is that 186. I can't place the 186. But yeah, this story is just straight up bullshit. I mean, you mean to tell me that they have this whole news story in a Starbucks and there was this big confrontation but nobody videotaped it in this age where everybody has a phone with a camera and can record in a second? As packed as every Starbucks is at all hours of the day in this nation? You mean to tell me that there's this whole news story and no one caught this on video? Yet they made a big news story about it? I mean, come on. Parker Mankey. Let's go back and look at the image of Parker Mankey. Here's your liberal progressive stereotype right here. Parker Mankey. Red and black, Jesuit colors.
The woman, Rebecca Parker Mankey, then began taking photos and posting about it on her Facebook, saying she was going to shame him, get him fired, kicked out of clubs, and march up and down his street. Victor says she left, then came back and tried to rile the Starbucks crowd once more.
Hey, again, everybody here, this racist and so on. And then as she wrote in her thing, she was disappointed all the people didn't come and mob me.
In fact, the opposite happened. People started harassing Parker Mankey's family and her employer, Griffin Stringed Instruments, where she worked as an accountant. The store owner decided to fire her after he read her Facebook posts.
We feel that music is what
brings people together. And so having
Doesn't this guy look like the real life Geppetto?
someone then making comments that are divisive is just not consistent with our values.
No one answered the door at Parker Mankey's home, but a female spoke through a closed.
I wonder why. Is there even really a Parker Mankey? Oh, here's your evidence. There she is. She's just too cowardly to come out there. Her mohawk wasn't looking quite right.
Window saying Rebecca doesn't live here.
She didn't want to discuss the issues with me. She wanted just to scream about Nazis and so on.
Victor wears a yarmulke underneath his MAGA hat. He is Jewish, and so to him, being called a Nazi is hurtful.
Call me an Ashkenazi. Get it right.
People with an education should know better than to say stupid things like that.
Yeah, people with an education should know better than to trust in the mainstream media in 2019. My goodness. My goodness. All right. Well, I think we made our point. Just for some quick review. Again, Jewish lawyer associated with terrorism, dead at age 74. Right after the big 74 London terrorism attack. The latest London Bridge incident. By the way, London Bridge is 119 like Orthodox, like Star of David, like Ashkenazi Jews. Like all seeing eye. Again, we talked about the incident in Brooklyn, New York on the 74 date this year. The Hitler is coming note left 74 days from the Jewish Day of Tragedy at the Children's Museum. Did you notice that video we just watched was 96 seconds long, by the way? Like Jewish Defense League? 96 seconds. See that at minute 36. That's 96 seconds. Then we talked about Marianne Williamson shamed for not denouncing the Zionist 9/11 conspiracy on her 74th day of her age. And you know what? Maybe I get the joke now. Maybe I get the joke of having my channel taken down for showing this for hate speech. Because there is something about the word hate. It equals 74. Maybe this is what Google's really trying to tell me when they keep taking my videos down for hate speech. That I'm exposing, the code. And the people that are hated aren't supposed to know this code, as expressed in the Talmud. Maybe that's what's going on. Again, anti-Semitic acts up 74% in France. 74% of French Jews are mulling emigration to Israel. 74% of another group of Jews in France are avoid doing this. I didn't even read the article. I was just like, okay, I've already seen enough. Paul Nehlen has 74 Jewish critics. 74-year-old Jewish man with Santa Claus beard versus Paul Mankey. Bruno Ganz, who played Hitler, dead 74 days from the anniversary of Hitler's death. Jeff Brotman, Costco founder, dead at 74. And just so you guys know, I'm not really doing this justice. I mean, if I took the time to go through my blog post, we could be here for all year, literally. I have like 30,000 blog posts. Probably 5,000 of those are about this same type of 74 pattern. And this Jewish Roman history, the first Jewish Roman war ending in 74 CE. Could this be what it's all about? And Trump's 47. Not too far off from 74. So I guess just to send a shout out to the ADL. Let's see if we can pull this up real quick. Shout out to the ADL. Let's see what I got here. We just had this big Scottish Rite of Freemasonry ritual with Borat, the Borat / Ali G / Bruno / Sacha Baron Cohen, the pervert that he is, talking about why Google needs to censor people like me. Hold on, we got a call here before I go over this. Man, you stay up late.
Hello, you gave me that?
I hear you just fine, man. How late do you stay up every day?
Cause when I be calling you on the radio show, I'll be on the train. So by the time I get home, it's like midnight. So by the time I fall asleep, it'd be like 1 or 2 o'clock. So I was about to fall asleep, and I saw you live. And remember, I was telling you, we were talking about Joshua and the 113. And guess what time the feed came to my phone for your live video? 1:13 in the a.m. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. We were just talking about 113. But I got another 74 for you. On the Daily News, they had a story called Collars for Dollars.
Okay.
So that basically, they was basically saying that you lock up black and Latinos, and like then they have the soft targets. The soft targets are like Asians and Jewish and white people. That's the soft targets. So if the police wanted to get overtime and extra stuff and all that other type of stuff, they had to do that. So if you put in collars for dollars, look what it equals.
Does it equal 74?
And full reduction.
Of course it does. Yeah. Yeah.
So what is it with the 74?
I'm glad you called in because you being from New York just reminded me of the whole Zion Williamson thing this year too. I almost forgot to talk about that. It's the 74th year of the NBA season, and the Zion Williamson sweepstakes were on May 14th, the anniversary of the establishment of Zionist Israel.
Who was on 74 points when they happened? Ain't one of the teams was on 74 points.
Oh, yeah, that's right. In the Zion Williamson debut in the summer league, he was playing the Knicks. And the earthquake disrupted the game, and the game was stopped with the team on 74 points. It's like, man, how do they manage that? So
a lot of 74s the last couple of days, and we've just been talking about 74s and 113s and all this stuff.
Right.
So I just had to call and give you another 74. Just think about that, Zach. Collars for dollars. 74.
Collins for dollars?
Collars. Collars for dollars.
Oh, collars for dollars. Okay, yeah, it rhymes.
Because
Okay.
basically, if they meet their quota locking up the blacks and Latinos, they wouldn't get their overtime or get their vacation, all that other type of shit, get paid or whatever. And they had their soft targets. The soft targets are the Asians, the Jews, and the white people. So don't go soft on them.
Right.
So you know what time it is. I just had to give you that 74 in there since you were talking about 74 so much.
I appreciate it.
Plus yesterday was the 5th, right? And the day before that was the 4th. So
Technically, I'm on the West Coast, so it's still the 5th out here, but where you are, it's the 6th.
So basically, they had to put the racial stuff off. The racial stuff had to be on for the 50-year anniversary of Fred Hampton and the cops and stuff. So you got to get some cops in there. So I just thought it was interesting. They had the cops. That's their front page.
Right.
I guess that. So it's just crazy.
Yeah. Good observation. Appreciate it, man.
All right, so I just want to leave you with that.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Have a good night.
All right.
Yeah, but also, just for another 74, I mean, Zionist Jews run the NBA. David Stern, Adam Silver, both Zionist Jews. This year on May 14th, the establishment of Zionist Israel, you had the Zion Williamson sweepstakes. And again, this is the 74th NBA season. And Zion Williamson, where's his name at? 74. So, and here, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that amazes me. It's like, is this real magic? Remember, you had the July 4th earthquake, and then the next day you had another quake, July 5th, and that's when Zion Williamson was making his debut, and he was playing against the New York Knicks, another 74. If you watched ESPN on May 13th, they had a segment about how all the Jewish rabbis in New York were praying that Zion would come to New York. He might end up there someday, but they had to disrupt that game because of the earthquake, and the score was on 74 points for the one team. So there's another 74 for your list. Shows you how deep this topic reaches. Collars for dollars. All right, I gotta look that up too. But Sacha Baron Cohen, he gave his speech calling for more censorship, backed by the ADL. Did it on the 325th day of the year, leaving 40 days remaining. Zionist 40, it was his 40th day of his age. 325th day of the year, Scottish Rite of Freemasonry's 325. It's also 127 like Sacha Baron Cohen. And that was a date with 44 numerology that he gave the speech. Comedian and Zion are both 44. Comedian and Zion are both also 64. ADL 64. Israel 64. Sacha Baron Cohen, the small waist 64. And to add on to that 64 list, Synagogue of Satan's also 64. Anti-Defamation League, what ADL stands for, is 84, like Zionism, like Masonry, like United States of America. Again, Sacha Baron Cohen went after Mark Zuckerberg, another 84, who's born in 1984, on May 14th. Israel's birthday is May 14th, 48. Zuckerberg's birthday is May 14th, 84. And here, if you've never seen this before, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I'll pull this up real quick. Hold on, I want to show you a few more things about the ADL. Whoops, typo. Oh boy. Butterfly keyboards are the worst. So the ADL reported a year ago. I spent all day calling all the ADL branches where they got their information from. Hold on, that's not the one. The ADL reported that anti-Semitism was up 57% in 2017. Jews is 57. Well, let me take this call real quick. Caller?
Hello, hey.
Hello.
Hey, did you call the Bengals game last week? I know you called the Chicago game last week, right?
Well, we had a good thought that the Bengals would win that game because it was all set up for Andy Dalton. The Jets lost, and the Bengals got their first win, becoming 1-11. New York equals 1-11, and then Dalton, he got his 68th win and 38th win at home, if I remember right, and Darnold 68, and Sam Darnold's 38, and I believe it was Dalton's 132nd game, and New York Jets' 132. So it just showed that that Dalton's whole benching was all set up for that return to get the first win of the season against New York. But why? What's up with that?
I'm just new to all this. I wanted to call out some numbers for Week 14. 67, 112, 58, 103, 49, 94, 85. I don't know if that has any significance, but yeah, I wanted to make mention of that.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you about Thursday Night Football tonight. The score was 31-24, 55 combined points. Chicago Bears equals 55. I told my people I was leaning on the Bears tonight because I think the Bears will lose next week in Green Bay to fall to 7-7. Green Bay equals 77. You saw the death of Bart Starr 77 days before the Packers' anniversary establishment date this offseason. And I liked the over tonight because the under was at 42.5. So I thought there'd be at least 43 points scored because Dallas Cowboys equals 43. 43 is the 14th prime. It's the first game of Week 14. And I said we might see some sort of Chicago tribute. Bears equals 45. Chicago 46. Well, ended up being 55 combined points. Chicago Bears 55. But yeah. So anyway, yeah. You learn the numbers. You just see how they show up in the scores week after week, game after game. It's all rigged and scripted.
Yeah, see, you're too good with these numbers. It's hard for us average people to keep up, you know?
You'll get better, man.
Yeah, and you said your grandma was, she said you could possibly be a chosen?
Not my grandma, my mom.
Oh, your mom. Okay. Well, chosens are outstanding with numbers. I just want to make that clear. But,
let's not call them chosens, though. That's what they call themselves, but it is true. They tend to be better at math.
Yeah, they are definitely. My grandfather was a mathematician, and I don't know if he was Jewish, but anyway, I called in a couple days ago, and I talked to you about Ryan Dawson, and you asked me what I could talk to him, or what you could talk to him about, and you can talk to him about 9/11 numerology. You know a lot about 9/11 and the numerology. But Ryan Dawson doesn't have a channel right now, so...
His whole channel got taken down?
No, but he's walking on eggshells, you know?
Yeah, I know how it goes.
So, You could probably have him on your channel, maybe, but I don't know.
All right, I've reached out to him before. He didn't get back to me. But,
Okay, well,
are you his friend or something?
I don't have any way to get to him, so.
Are you his friend?
No, I don't know him.
Okay. What do you want to see us collaborate for?
9/11 numerology probably is what you're probably best at, but he probably doesn't know anything about that.
Yeah, which is a weird thing to think about. How could you possibly not know? But,
Hey, it's tough. You really have to know your stuff about this stuff, you know?
yeah, but he's a YouTube person, and I'm somebody who's made over 6,000 videos, so how can you not know? He's somebody that buddies up with, think about it this way, No Less News, that's his buddy. No Less News, who just crawled out of Alex Jones's ass. I mean, I've been putting out videos since way before Adam Green even had any subscribers. I had nearly 100,000 subscribers when Adam Green had 2. So how's a guy like Ryan Dawson know about, No Less News, but he doesn't know about my work? These are the things that don't make sense to me.
Well, Adam Green, he got promoted probably.
Well, the way I look at it, man, is I'm skeptics of all these people. I know Ryan Dawson's been dealing with some sensitive.
He talked to David Duke. He talked to the racist guys on TRS radio. You know, he literally will talk to anyone. So he'll talk to you, but it's tough to talk about numbers if you don't know about numbers. You know.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. All right, man.
Yeah, but just giving you something to think about. You know, we could probably try something, but I don't know how to get a hold of him. So, and plus he doesn't have a YouTube channel, and yeah, things are tough.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks. See ya.
I don't think he was grasping my point. It's not like I'm invisible, I've had more subscribers than a lot of people in the truth community in the time I've been here. It's just I keep getting deleted and shut down and trying to rebuild. But, I mean, a guy like Ryan Dawson, how could he not be aware of me? That's why all these people who pretend like they never seen this work and don't talk about it, I don't buy it. I don't trust any of these people. Shoot, what was I saying I was going to look up? I forgot what I was going to do before that phone call came in. I forgot. It was something about the ADL. Did I cover it already? Whatever, it'll come back to me. Can always make another video later. Let's see, is anybody watching anyway? Let's see. Is anybody out there? Maybe somebody in the chat remembers what I was going to talk about. Anytime you go to the chat, it's just by default, it's people talking about the shape of the earth. It's like, are you guys even hearing anything I'm talking about? I always notice it's like people who've been following me for years. There's one guy who's left about 1,000 comments. He's left at least 1,000 comments over the years. The other day he left a comment, "Hey Zach, is there anything about the number 223?" And I was like, oh my god, this guy's been commenting here for how many years? I mean, he must have heard me talk about 223 10,000 times. And he's asking me if there's anything to that number? Dude, I know that you're not a new commenter here, but again, it's just like, I feel like a lot of people like tune into videos and then they just type in the chat the whole time and don't pay attention to anything. I probably didn't see your post. I just turned over to the chat. Yeah, maybe I covered what I was going to say then. ADL, that's what I was talking about. I think I hit all the points there. Maybe not. But I got that video up on the whole Sacha Baron Cohen thing anyway, if you want to go back and watch it, so. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I figured it out. I was going to show the video of Mark Zuckerberg. That's what I was going to do. Let me find it. Mark Zuckerberg. I hope this is still on YouTube. Mark Zuckerberg sweating. This might just pull it up right here. Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is the one. I just gotta. Oh, this is the one right here. Here we go.
I thought that was a fascinating answer.
Okay, you want to take off the hoodie?
No, I never take off the hoodie.
I know you don't. What's with that? There's a group of women in the audience that wish you would.
No.
Girls?
Whoa.
Whoa.
All right.
Sorry. Yeah, that's okay.
Can you explain what this instant personalization thing was that you did, and why you did it, and what's the value of it to your users?
Maybe I should take off the hoodie.
Take off the hoodie.
Go ahead.
You
What
want
the
to?
hell?
You want? Go ahead. Here. Let me get someone. You all right?
Yeah.
This is a great moment in internet history.
What?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do with the mic?
Put it on your.
All right.
Put it on the collar of your t-shirt. Do you want some?
Do you need some help?
No.
All right. Okay. Mark?
I mean, just look at how sweaty he is. If you've never seen this before, just wait till you see what's on the inside of his hoodie. But, I mean, what do I do with the mic? I mean, come on. You're the guy who created Facebook. You can't figure out what to do with the mic here? Come on.
Sorry about the.
Sorry about being warm, Mark.
Nah.
We're not even yelling at you.
Yeah.
Yet.
We're not going to yell at you.
No, we're of course not. It is a warm hoodie.
Yeah. No, it's a thick hoodie. It's a company hoodie. We print our mission on the inside.
What? Oh, my
really?
God, the inside of the hoodie, everybody. Take a moment. What is it? Making the...
Making the world more open and connected.
Oh, my God. It's like a secret
Cool.
vault. Look at that. Making the world open and connected. Stream graph platform, and this weird symbol in the middle that is probably for the Illuminati. Oh, 2010.
No, it's 2010.
Oh, no. I read Dan Brown on the...
So what is instant personalization, and why did you do it? What's it?
Sure. So I mean, what we're trying to do is
Probably
So-
for the Illuminati.
Can you see what this is that's on the inside of this symbol? It's the Star of David. That's what's on the inside of the symbol. And again, Mark Zuckerberg with the Zionist Israel anniversary birthday. Here, you can do a web search for this thing. Mark Zuckerberg, Star of David hoodie. Here it is. Making the world open and connected. Guess what that equals? Making the world open and connected. Hold on, gotta spell right. You see this 147? You see it in Genesis 47, Jacob, who becomes Israel, dies at 147 years of age. And again, it's the 47th chapter of Genesis. 47th when you write it out equals 147. Freemasons 147. Conspiracies 147. Again, special number here 147. Carded all over a million different things. And why didn't that lady said, "Oh, that's weird. You got the Star of David. Don't you have the same birthday as Israel, Marky?" That's what she should have said. And then, you got Sacha Baron Cohen with the ADL going before the stage, mocking people. These anti-Semitic tropes of Zionist and Jewish conspiracies, while a Jewish man's calling out another Jew for his influence in the world. It's just like, what the hell am I watching here? Could this be any more Orwellian, and just, could the mockery be any more thick? It's just, I hate that the truth is called anti-Semitic. And really, the Jews should be proud of themselves. They shouldn't run away from the truth. They should be like, you know what? Yeah, we do. We do control the media. We do control the entertainment industries. Yeah, we do control the major food companies, the major food distributors, the major communications providers. Yeah, we do. We control almost everything in this world. Not, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. No, it's not. It's a fact. They're so worried that the Goyim are going to wake up to their influence. They're not. I mean, that's the thing the ADL should get. And by taking down my channel, it just shows how pathetic and cowardly you guys are. Your little mutilated peckers and your tiny ball sacks. It's pathetic. I mean, you guys should let my channel stand because look at what I have to deal with every day. Morons who come here and just announce it in a moment. You know? These guys got nothing to be afraid of. The truth is the world does worship them. They love them. They love their Cheeto cheese puffs, their shit entertainment. They love it all. They're not like me. They're not like us who follow and actually care about the truth. They got the world around their fingers, so. But just realize, I mean, you're not even safe if you're in if you're in with them. I mean, their own people go out by the code. So. What's Herzl's name? I can't even think how to spell Herzl's name right now. The founder of Zionism. Herzl. There he is. That is how you spell it. Here, let's just close out with Theodore Herzl. Speaking of going out by the code, let's look at old Theodore. So Theodore died July 3rd at age 44. He's the founder of Zionism. July 3rd can be written 3/7 like 37. Notice Israel's 37 and 44. Dead at 44 on 3/7. What year was Israel established? 1948. 44 years after his death. Again, we're not taught about World War I because that's when Zionist Israel was planned. We're not taught about the real things that happened behind World War II and why the Nazis targeted Jews. Because, again, we're not to know the truth about anything. We're just to get the history. The word was story in it. Who do you think's the author? His story. The history that they give us. Falsified. Anyway. Who remembers Netanyahu's 44 seconds of silence for Obama? Number 44. Barack Hussein Obama. The guy that was supposedly and isn't it funny how they always make it seem like the presidents are like at odds with Israel as Obama signs off on 38 billion and more aid for Israel. By the way, Jew equals 38. That was Obama's parting gift for Israel. Here, you guys need 38 billion more dollars. We already give them a ton of money. Here, have 38 billion more. Never mind all the Obama, what did he do for Flint, Michigan, who still has a water crisis? He went there and pretended to sip the water. Fuck you, Flint. I only got money for Israel. But Theodore Herzl in the Most Pure Cipher, also 73, like July 3rd, 7-3. Talk about going out by the code. Don't forget sacrifice and ritual sacrifices, 73 as well. Theodore's 40 like Zionism. 104 like Jerusalem. 33. And the moon. The moon was at 73% visibility the day of his death. The Jews identify through the moon, if you didn't know that. Because the moon disappears and comes back. They say like the Jews throughout history. He died 62 days after his birthday, or a span of 63. Sacrifices 62. Rabbinic Judaism 63. Those are the Jews who go by the Talmud, which is pretty much all mainstream Judaism. July 3rd was the day leaving 181 days left in the year. The United Nations recognized Israel on November 29th, 1947. That's the 333rd day of the year, with Resolution 181. And look at how many votes were in favor. 33 in favor for Israel to be recognized as a nation. So 181's the 42nd prime, Zionism's 42. The Zionist nation realized by the United Nations. I gotta look something up. Somebody told me that the United Nations, I don't know if this is hearsay or if this is true, but somebody left a comment today. I'm gonna verify this. You might want to research it yourself. Supposedly the United Nations has drafted something for teaching 5 to 8-year-olds about masturbation. How it feels good to touch your own genitals. I mean, I hope this isn't true. I hope it is hearsay, but if that's true, man, it's just so sick. Really, to introduce masturbation to 5 to 8-year-olds. To tell them, little Johnny, it's great to touch your genitals. Might as well start now at 5. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, all right. I think I covered enough. Hey, you know what? I just thought of something that I've never thought of before. I'm not even trying to spell the word correctly. Let me make sure I got it right. I just got to see. I got to see what the gematria is of circumcision, since it's a Jewish practice. Wow, it's 64. That's interesting. 64. Like Israel, like Zion, like Sacha Baron Cohen, like Synagogue of Satan, like ADL. That is interesting. I'm telling you, this isn't right either, circumcision, man. Trust me, if you were supposed to be that way, you'd be that way, you know. And again, think about what they do in the, those Orthodox ones. They circumcise the baby in the synagogue, and then while the baby's bleeding, they pass him around and suck off the blood. I mean, how gross is that? How gross is that? These 18880 numbers stand out too. That's Bavarian Illuminati. Maybe that lady, when she was interviewing Mark Zuckerberg, maybe she knew something. She said, what is that, Illuminati? No, that's the Star of David. It's the Seal of Solomon. Oh, maybe it is Illuminati. Anyway. I never looked up circumcision before. I don't know how I didn't. Circumcised? I see 73. Sacrifice number. In a way, it is a sacrifice. All right. We're getting off topic. Well, sort of still on topic. I would have died if it was 74. All right, Truth Seeker. We are going to wrap it up there. It's my bedtime. Till next time. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. 64 likes? Can somebody help correct that? That can't be true. Let's get it up to 74. Till next time, Truth Seeker.